Joining me now from Southern California, president of Advocates for Faith and Freedom and partner at Tyler Bursch LLP, Robert Tyler. Robert, this is a huge mistake. I've been struggling with this from the very beginning. Shutting down gymnasiums and churches have made no sense to me. But let's stick to the churches. Churches are essential. Churches have always been essential. They're essential to the founding of this republic. But what's amazing to me is that we have thousands of priests and ministers and what have you and rabbis that have simply capitulated to the whims of these individual governors who have shut them down. To the grave I will take this. I am shocked that this has happened. Are you?
You know, it is, when we look back on it with 2020 hindsight, it is a bit shocking. I think that there was a miscalculation from the beginning. You know, when President Trump and Vice President Pence said, let's do this for 2 weeks, I think a lot of the churches, a lot of the pastors thought to themselves, okay, we can do this. Let's, until we know more, let's go ahead and we'll close for a couple weeks. But it quickly became so overwhelming and unending, frankly, with regard to this lockdown that we began to start looking at this and about 3 weeks into it saying we're going to have to start doing something about a reopening of churches.
But that's the slow creep of tyranny, isn't it? And that's how it begins. Just a little morsel and it becomes more and more and more. And this is what I've been warning about on this program for now 3 months or so. But Pentecost Sunday is this Sunday, and this is an important date on the calendar for all churches who understand this crazy thing we call the First Amendment. And you have a declaration, you're involved in a declaration of essentiality for churches. It's terrible that it's come to this, but I want to summarize a little bit here. The Christian church and other faiths have been relegated to non-essential, we know that, but we, the signers of this declaration, believe and contend that gathering together in fellowship and worship is essential. We declare that on May 31, 2020, or sooner, we will resume corporate worship as instructed in Hebrews 10, 24, 25. Hebrews 25 says, not forsake assembling. And so, effectively, what y'all are talking about here is answering to a higher authority.
Yeah, and what's important about the gathering, the assembly of people coming together, let's think about the real effect of that. It's not just the idea of, a First Amendment right to assemble. This is long, this comes from the scriptures 2,000 years ago. What we're really talking about is people being able to come together because the church is a safety net. And we're seeing increases in suicide, mental health issues, phone calls to mental health hotlines just on the rise so much that there's so many significant issues that the church needs to be the safety net. And that's why we came up after being asked by pastors about what can we do. And we said, we got them together and we were asked to put together this declaration and gather these pastors who are courageous and willing to stand up and say, look, we're not going to stay silent any longer. We're going to open up because we need to do what God's called us to do, and that's to minister to their congregation and their community.
And so Pentecost Sunday is this Sunday, the 31st, and we're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of churches participating in this. And what about these phony rules that they're putting in place that don't apply to Costco and don't apply to Walmart, the 25% limitation nonsense? What about all that?
Well, in California, the governor backed down, frankly. I mean, we had 1,500 pastors who have signed this declaration of essentiality. And so when we announced this, along with President Trump's statement that followed, the governor backed down this last Monday. And however, he did not entirely back down. He put a limit in saying you can only have 25% of the occupancy of your building or 100, whichever's less. And so
effectively, they want pastors to turn people away at the door.
Yeah.
That's the 25% here, right?
Yeah, but restaurants in California could have as many people as they can, so long as there's social distancing. So, the 6-foot requirement, that sort of thing. There's no reason why churches shouldn't be allowed to do the same. And so, while we're grateful that the governor did back down initially, it's going to help a lot of churches that are smaller. But, for the larger churches, they're saying, look, we signed this declaration of essentiality, and we're coming together, we are opening, and we're going to have as many people in the church building that we can have reasonably with social distancing. And typically that might be 25, 30, 35%.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.